Hickenlooper. You are recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam. Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Mr. Kirk, for your time. In the last few years, the SBA has faced real complex issues in terms of fraud and abuse. I think Americans are counting on us to make sure that tax revenues, tax money is spent appropriately, that fraudsters are held accountable. Much of your time in higher ed, or your roles in higher ed, don't appear to be primarily legal, and you transitioned to government in 2020. Can you describe your experience in terms of conducting large complex audits or investigations, and how that experience could prepare you to lead the SBA Inspector General's office?
Thank you very much, Senator, for the question. The role of the Inspector General, and that person in particular, is to supervise and conduct audits and investigations, to provide the leadership and coordination necessary, to recommend the policies. This is all from the Inspector General Act. And so a particular individual's experience in the detailed and substantive roles is not necessary. And what I bring to this role is more than 3 decades of administrative management and leadership experience in areas related to that. I served in a role oversight of student disciplinary processes at Notre Dame, the police department, and the housing offices. These were situations that required executive management and leadership to ensure that the work was performed appropriately. And I feel very confident that I'm able to do that, to supervise and manage the oversight work of the Inspector General's office.
So in terms of the SBA Inspector General, what kinds of fraud and abuse are you most concerned with?
At the SBA, I'm very concerned with the kind of fraud that occurred in connection with the 8A program, the recent USAID, hundreds of millions of dollars lost to fraud because of bribery by officials. I am concerned to ensure that the disaster aid is appropriately distributed to underserved and rural communities. That's an area that I'm very concerned about, the efficiency there, to make sure that that aid gets out. I'm very concerned that, given all of the focus on the PPP program over the last couple of years, that the flagship programs, the 7A and 8A programs, have the oversight that's required to ensure that they stay ready and available to assist small businesses.
Right. How do you look at some of the issues within the SBA where there's been some contestation on some of the awards that have been frozen and held back without actually? In other words, people had qualified for some of the programs and were told they were going to get funding, but that funding's never materialized. Have you got a way of approaching those situations?
Thank you, Senator. Certainly, since I'm not in the role currently, I would need more information to understand what the actual issues are that you're referring to. But if an entity is qualified to receive, it would be important for the Inspector General to try to determine, to ensure that the award was made.
Okay, great. Yield back to the chair.